Sounding exquisite.
Oh shit, we back again. What's up, what's happening? Come to the party and bring a friend. Fuck it, I'm bringing 10. Ooh, tryna chat a 10. Big boy tryna chat a 10. She said I was catchy. I said, so tap him in.
Touchdown!
Double cup, wow, I stuck smile when I puff loud. I touch clouds, catching touchdowns in my mind now, cause I'm zoned out. On a porch couch in the iCloud. 2 coughs and I'm back now. 2 coughs and I'm packed out. Somebody give me a drink before I gotta sit down. I'm making hits now with a smooth style.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Trash Talk Tailgate. It's your boy, Riley Puddin' Peters. With me, as always, I have the doctor, defensive backs, quality control coach, Preston Rowe. We're here. It's a stream, another Sunday.
Yep.
The draft is done. We've had lots of time in the free agency, rookie mini camps, OTAs. This season is approaching. The offseason road is getting clearer. The path to the season is in front of us. And today, we're here to talk about our way too early NFL predictions. Dr. Preston, how you feeling, man? I mean,
I'm feeling good, man. I got a new mic stand, which is pretty cool. You
Nice.
know, we look a lot better. You know, we put a lot of effort into this shit. But, dude, the draft is done. It's over with now. We've had time to process, you know, what the teams have done to help themselves and get better, or in some cases get worse, you know, not help themselves at all.
don't change.
Oh, dude, it's just so frustrating. But you know, I'm really excited, man, you know, and so we thought, fuck it, you know, there's not a whole lot going on. So let's do our way too early NFL draft prediction or NFL predictions for
NFL
2025.
predictions.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the division winners and the wild card, you know, finishing the playoff per se, and name some of our wild card teams. These are going to be our official TTT predictions.
Yes.
But before we get to our way too early predictions, we must talk about something that anyone and everyone can predict.
You know, thinking is overrated.
And that is the Jets doing something wrong. And so, you know, if you haven't seen the news, Jets backup quarterback Jordan Travis, drafted out of Florida State. He is medically retiring after not being able to recover from the injury that he suffered at Florida State in his last season there. Sat out an entire year last year. The Jets are bums.
They are 100% bums.
The words
And
of the people.
I think we talked about this earlier this offseason, Riley, when I said, you know, Jordan Travis, he wasn't recovering like they thought he should. And even going back to last year, there were reports that the Jets were trying to rush his rehab, which made no sense because he was the third string quarterback last year. Like you had Aaron Rodgers and you also had Tyrod Taylor, who we said should have been the starter anyway. Like, the Jets knew he was struggling, and they still tried to rush him. He was a rookie third-string quarterback coming off a major leg injury in college. Why are you rushing him back? Yeah. And it was reported that Jordan Travis and the Jets had a lot of tension with each other because Jordan Travis didn't like the fact that the Jets were rushing him through his rehab. Like, of course, if you rush your rehab for a major leg injury like that, you might have some real complications.
Yeah.
And he's being forced to retire because of the Jets' incompetence.
It's literally, he's in a, I either have to retire or I have to continue to be a Jet, and I much rather not play football than be a Jet.
I I feel so bad for Jordan Travis, man, because if you remember, if you haven't watched our Florida State reaction video, the College Football Playoff Committee left Florida State out despite being undefeated back in 2023 because of Jordan Travis's injury. They said, oh, well, they're not a good enough team, you know, with Jordan Travis, their starting quarterback, to even though they're undefeated, which in that case, he should have won the Heisman Trophy by that logic. I mean, Draven, no, he's medically retiring. He's I understand what you're saying. He has to medically retire. He cannot play football anymore. He is being medically advised by multiple doctors that he has to retire because of the Jets' own incompetence.
They made it so the decision, the only hope he would have is to go play for a different league and prove that he's eligible. I think he'd have to spend like a couple years in another league before he could get out of a medical retirement, which is, so he'd have to go be a UFL quarterback.
Piano Man. What's up, Piano Man?
The Chargers. Hey man, listen, that's an interesting organization out there in the West Coast, and we might have some interesting takes. So you should stick around for the Chargers.
You should stick around for the Chargers. You absolutely should. We're gonna discuss them today because if y'all didn't know, we're doing our way too early NFL predictions for 2025, which is division winners, offensive rookie of the year, defensive rookie of the year, and MVP candidates. But this is way too early, like I said.
Way too early predictions.
Yep. I mean, dude, the draft is over. Fuck it. Why not?
Absolutely.
And
honestly, on that, I mean, I think this is last thoughts on the Jordan Travis, because it really just is what it is, man. He is retiring, and the Jets made it so. I mean, a little bit of help in a man's rehab. There's amazing doctors out there that you can help get him in touch with, rehab specialists. They're based out of New York, New Jersey. There's no way they couldn't get someone that's like world class at helping athletes recover. Yeah. So, I think it's an absolute bungle.
But again, Riley, the question I have, and this is, no one in the Jets is ever going to be able to answer this, but just why? He's a third string rookie quarterback. Why are you rushing him? Your season was over at that point anyway, because this was back in November. The Jets were going nowhere. They weren't going to make the playoffs. Why are you rushing a rookie third string quarterback back and potentially completely fucking up his rehab and ultimately his career? Why? It doesn't make sense.
For a third string, it's insane.
It's so dumb.
I mean, the only reason they did it is so we could pick on them because, it's the offseason. It's hard for them to mess up in the offseason. So they have to do something drastic like this just so we could pick on them. And I about the Jets. All right. Moving on, though. Let's get back to the business at hand. We are here for way too early NFL predictions. And we're going to start in the NFC. We're going to go with the Cardinal direction system. We're going to start in the North. For the NFC North, Dr. Preston, who's the prediction here?
Well, people are probably not going to be as high on the Lions because they did lose their offensive and defensive coordinators in Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. But the culture and the roster that Dan Campbell and GM Brad Holmes have created and established there, I think it's just at this point, it's just solid. It's going to be intact no matter who the coordinators are. I mean, and dude, even in the draft, they go out, they get Tyreek Williams, a defensive, a true nose, interior defensive lineman that they really, really need. Mr. Lee always coming in hot. They really, really need, because they got devastated on defense last year by injury, and they need some help. They need to give Aiden Hutchinson some help. And then, dude, they attack their strengths, man. I mean, the Lions, you could argue, have maybe the best offensive line in football already, but they go out and they listen to the Trash Talk Tailgate and they get younger players, younger athletic bubs that can sit and learn and then be ready to go in a few years. They get Tate Ratledge in the second round. Then they get another really good wide receiver in Isaac Tesla out of Arkansas. And then they go in the fifth round, they get another offensive lineman in Miles Frazier. Like, I mean, they just hit the bubs, man. The Lions, they are built on bubs. You have to go get the big, ugly bastards. So I love the Lions, man.
Of course, the big thing that everyone's worried about with them, if anything, is that they have lost some of their coordinators.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I think even with that, like you said, Dan Campbell, the absolute man, I think he can handle that.
The question isn't would you run through a brick wall for Dan Campbell? It's how many brick walls would you run through for Dan Campbell? That's the question. Yeah.
And I mean, this is literally one of the best teams from last year. you can only say so many things without like repeating, but it is true. Like, this is just an injury-ridden team that has now got extra
by
depth.
Injury.
Yeah.
Devastated.
And they've done everything they can to make sure that as they go in next season, what they have is depth.
Mm-hmm.
All those positions that matter, they've tried to get more people in there. And really, from there, Dan Campbell, I think they should invest some money into solid rehab programs. Get some good injury rehab systems going on. But aside from that, man, the Lions are a scary team to face.
Terrifying.
They can do whatever they want most nights. They can throw it. They can run it. You don't know who's going to catch it. You don't know who's going to tote it.
I mean, they still have the Sun God. They still have Amon-Ra St. Brown. They still have Jahmyr Gibbs, who we love. They still have David Montgomery, who's a fucking just workhorse. The thunder to Jahmyr Gibbs' lightning. Jamison Williams is one of the best deep threats in the league. Like, I mean, they're just a really good, well-balanced team. They're a well-constructed team.
Yeah, dude.
Great bubs.
Their trenches, both their trenches are built now, especially extra depth.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, we'll say it again. The depth is what is going to secure them the position in this next season.
Yes.
And, they've done what they can to keep some guys around, get some new ones. I think they drafted well, like you said. I think they got some absolute steals in Tate Ratledge, Isaac Tesla. I think that's a great – Miles Frazier in the 5th round was a great pick for them as well, man.
Yeah.
There's nothing that you can say. And SEC lineman in the 5th round is big talk, especially a starting SEC lineman.
Yeah.
I mean, this dude played against most of the edge rushers that he's going to play against in the NFL already.
Mm-hmm.
At least the elite ones.
Yeah. No, it's just – come on. It's the Lions, man. Like, I understand the concern about losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn.
Yeah.
But it's still Dan Campbell. It's still Brad Holmes. Like, they've done a great job of completely restructuring and reconstructing that roster and building up that culture. So I trust the Lions, man.
I agree. Yeah. And I think, I think we're going to get to see the evolution of the Dan Campbell coaching tree now.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Which I'm excited for.
I am too. Knock some of these down. So now I was waiting to pull this up because it went with our next one, but it's a great time.
Yes.
And I think this was the conversation. The NFC East. It is an Eagles Lions or Eagles Commanders conversation. But I mean, Dr. Preston, you wanna?
Well, I mean, the Eagles, the rich get richer. It's just they get Jahad Campbell, who I thought was by far the best linebacker in this draft. They get him to fall all the way to 31 because they trade with the Chiefs. And still, that kind of value, Jahad Campbell led Alabama in tackles for losses, and sacks. That kind of insanely athletic, gifted football player just typically doesn't fall that far in the first round. And the Eagles, they somehow pull it off, you know. And then they're also, I mean, they get Andrew Makuba, Riley, who played at Clemson, then transferred to Texas, the safety. Love Andrew Makuba.
I mean, he's an absolute baller, dude.
He's a baller. He's just in the right place at the right time. He is a baller. And then in free agency, you get Kenyon Green from the Texans. Kenyon Green, if y'all don't know, he's kind of in the Mekhi Becton mold of kind of maybe an overweight guard that they were trying to get to play tackle. But he's really a guard just because of his mass and his ability to move people in the run game. Well, the Texans gave up on him. Does that sound familiar, Riley?
Yeah, it does. Sounds very familiar, man.
Yes.
Giving up on a guy that you try to force to play tackle.
Yeah. And then it's just like Mekhi Becton last year. You know, the Jets give up on him to say, hey, you know what? Our offensive line is shitty, and Mekhi Becton, you're not going to help it. You're making it worse. And then Mekhi Becton moves to guard, who I said he should have been a guard all along. He's absolutely a guard, just like Kenyon Green. And he's starting for the Eagles in the Super Bowl. So who was right and who was wrong? And,
you know, they lost Mekhi Becton, and, I mean, they literally went out and replaced him back again, which is, you know, that shows that front office, the level that they're working at. It is just hard to match, man. It really is. It's annoying how hard it is to match.
I mean, it's just I really like what the Eagles have done. And then they go out. They get Smile Munden in the 5th round out of Georgia, another great linebacker who's just kind of undersized. Smile Munden, dude. That's how you say his name, Smile.
Hell yeah.
You know, he was a 5-star recruit, like incredibly athletic, great football player.
Another Georgia player.
Just another Georgia Bulldog, man.
Yeah.
And then another Cam Williams out of Texas, the tackle.
Yeah.
He's another project that they're just going to be able to develop. And he'll be a starter for them in a few years.
I mean, another SEC lineman on a very good Texas team. This is a guy that's in the, you know, familiar with the RPO scheme. A good run blocker as well. I mean, this is a very good piece for them.
I mean, the two teams that I trust the most to develop offensive linemen are the Eagles and the Lions. And it's no surprise that they're two of the most successful franchises over the last few years because of that. You got to develop your bubs. You can't neglect them.
I mean, shouts to you. They went out and got Antoine Powell-Ryland from Virginia Tech.
Yeah, another edge rusher. That's just going to be a depth piece for them.
Yeah, dude. And a guy that I think, you know, is very underrated because he played for a Virginia Tech team that kind of went very under the radar last year, just lack of performance. But he was a shining piece if you did watch any of those games.
Yeah.
And so, I think they got a steal with him as well, which is –
he was Virginia Tech's best defensive player last year.
Oh, for sure. Without a doubt. Yeah.
Yeah.
A doubt. He was really good. I mean, he was very, very – he's a problem, man. They say there's a problem. The problem's him. And, you know, we're skipping right over the Honda McCord, Kyle McCord, who was an Ohio State quarterback, then went to Syracuse and did pretty good stuff at Syracuse, considering the team he was with.
Yeah.
And, I mean, that's another great piece they're just going to have sitting. He's just going to be – that's their backup. One of their backups is just
another depth piece, man.
Just another depth piece, you know. So, as much as, you know, pride and hubris want me to argue Commanders here, it is hard to look at the Eagles and the way that they've handled this offseason and say that they've taken any kind of a step back from how they performed last season. So, you know, I think if Commanders get a chance, it's all going to be on some bullshit, most likely. And I love it. I'm here for it.
Yep. And then are we moving on to the NFC South?
Absolutely, man. Let's move on.
This
NFC
was
South.
a team. Now, Riley, remember last year I said the Bucs had a chance to be the 1 seed in the NFC. I really, really like what the Bucs have done. And then they just got devastated by injury. They lost Chris Godwin. They lost basically all of their secondary to injury. And Baker Mayfield still was a top 5 MVP candidate last year. Like, people kind of slept on the Bucs, I think, just because they play in a not great division, but they're
Yeah.
a damn good football team, man. And they just got better. Like all they did was just get better.
I mean,
You
really.
know?
And they got a very dangerous piece. And I think this is one of the things post all of the draft stuff. The amount of trash I've seen people talk about Emeka Egbuka
is insane.
It's insane, dude. People are slandering this pick.
Mhm.
And it's crazy because this is like almost the exact kind of piece that they're gonna need to be more successful.
Well, I mean, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin are, definitely on the way down. Like they're past their prime. So you need to inject some young athletic slot receivers. You have Jalen McMillan, who they got in the 3rd round last year, who had, who had 8 receiving touchdowns for them last year. He really had to step up when Chris Godwin got hurt. But Emeka Egbuka is perfect for them, man. He's going to get to learn from Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, and he's going to get a bunch of targets because defenses are going to focus on Evans. And he is a slot receiver.
A very
and they are going to play him in the slot.
And he's going to get a chance to do what he does, which is dissect a defense with very elite routes.
Yes.
And he's going to feast in that system. They create so much space. This Buccaneers team very much feasted on deep balls, cutting zones apart, finding big opportunities. Baker Mayfield's got that arm and everyone's scared of it. But Emeka Egbuka is going to bring that extra dimension that I think they truly did just lack. Like their underneath route running and their mid routes were just very trash. I mean, they were hit or miss on the deep ball.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is a piece that is, the slander on his name for the kind of weapon he might be for them is insane.
And then I mentioned, last year their secondary was demolished by injury. They have Antoine Winfield Jr., and that's really it. But they hit the secondary, man. They went out, they get Benjamin Morrison, the corner out of Notre Dame, who if he hadn't gotten hurt last year, he probably would have been a late 1st round pick. They get him in the 2nd. He'll be fully healthy, and then they get Jacob Parrish. They hit corner again, the corner out of Kansas State. So that they're adding quality depth, and they're probably going to get some starters in there too, just for a secondary that was really, really ravaged by injury a year ago. And again, man, people don't realize this. Bucky Irving was top 10 in rushing last year, the rookie running back.
Yeah.
He was top 10 in rushing yards last year in the whole league. He's going to get better. The Buccaneers are one of the youngest teams in football. They were so young last year. They're going to get so much better with more experience. And then they addressed their needs really well, and they got quality depth. And that's all you can ask for a team
I gotta say,
in a draft like this. And it's awesome, man. I'm really excited for the Bucs. I think Baker Mayfield is one of the most underrated, underappreciated quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I got to talk about this though. All right, so this is just one of the funniest things in all of it too. So not only did they sign the heaviest player ever, Desmond Watson out of Florida, 446 pounds. They also signed Tez Johnson, or they drafted Tez Johnson.
The lightest player, who was 136 pounds, I think. Maybe it was like 156, something like that. The difference was like 310 pounds. Just a whole nother lineman difference between the biggest player that they got and the smallest one, which is hilarious. But on top of that, I think bringing in D-Watt like this massive man to go alongside someone like Vita Vea, tell me if I'm wrong. Did they not just crack the tush push? I think they did, dude.
That is a mountain of man to move in the position such as the tush push, where you're like low like that. Vita was already kind of a problem, and now they're adding someone who's even harder to move in that situation.
Well, Riley, if you remember, the Bucs are one of the few teams that have been able to stop it, because we went to the Bucs Commanders playoff game. Unfortunately, you couldn't go, but the TTT went And the Commanders, they tried to run the tush push, I think, once or twice. They didn't get it.
Yeah. I mean,
They didn't get it.
is a bowling ball in the middle.
He's a bowling ball, dude.
He is a problem. And they added someone who is more of that. Just a mountain of a human being.
He might not play a whole lot, but
no,
he will play in push situation.
Yeah, dude. He is that one. He needs a lot of. There's a reason why he's a undrafted free agent, and there's a reason why that's he signed like that, because he's not going to be super useful in most situations.
No,
but I bet you see this dude show up in the goal line on both sides of the ball. I'm calling that now.
Yep.
Imagine the D Watt Vita Vea super package on offense.
Can you imagine throwing him the ball?
That'd be so good.
Oh my God.
That's all I want. That's all I want is a Baker Mayfield pass to D Watt.
To Desmond Watson, 421-pound defensive tackle. I mean, you're right, Riley. He's going to be their tush push stopper along with Vita Vea. So that's another great signing for them. The Bucs are just a good, smart organization. They have a plan and they know what they're doing.
And I think this signing shows very specifically they think they're going to compete.
Yeah.
And they know that, one, they have to beat the Eagles to win the NFC. And if you want to beat the Eagles, you got to be able to clog the middle. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, that is the reason they signed this man. That is why he is here. They are developing everything they can to clog the middle when they play the Eagles.
Yeah.
I mean, any team that's going to try to run it up the middle. But I bet you, it makes so much sense that
it does.
Like, we got to stop this. We need to stop this.
I mean, it's like, and that's why, I don't know. Just the NFL has been bitching about the tush push. Like, be proactive, and instead of bitching about it, find ways to try to stop it. The Bucs did.
Instead of bitching, go find 400+ pound men to go put in front of it. Come on.
There was one available, and only the Bucs signed him. So
he was available, though. He was available the whole time.
He was.
He was right available. There. Everybody was talking about him.
But
this Bucs team, they do look good. It's a division that, really their only competition most seasons ends up being like the Saints.
Yeah. Because do you trust the Falcons to do good things, to do smart things? I don't.
No, not after their draft. So, yeah, no. It really is, man. The Buccaneers look like they're in a very solid spot to win this one.
Yeah.
All right.
Now,
now we have another one. Jack Lee, once again. Dude, we both went for it.
Yeah, we did. All right.
This is
true. This is 100% true.
And I think it's going to continue to be.
I had a tough time with this one. I'm not going to lie. Because you think about it, the 49ers, they missed the playoffs last year. They were another team that was just crushed by injury. Christian McCaffrey never really got going.
Yeah.
He had nagging injuries all throughout the year. Their receivers didn't really do it. Their defensive line got injured, which is why they went out and they get Micah Williams, who I love. I think he's one of the best players in this draft.
Yeah.
100%. He's going to be a stud, especially getting to learn from Nick Bosa every single day. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But I think the Rams just time and time again, they prove that they are just one of the best well-run organizations in football. This was tough, man. I have the Rams winning this division just because the thing that gave me pause was the fact that I think Brock Purdy's going to get paid this offseason. We don't know exactly when, but I think he'll get paid this offseason. And that's going to cut into a huge chunk of their salary cap. So they're not going to be able to have a loaded roster anymore.
Yeah.
And I really like what the Rams have done, man. They have one of the best defensive lines in football with Kobe Turner, Jared Verse, even after losing Aaron Donald. You have Puka Nacua still, Kyron Williams, the running back, and obviously Matt Stafford. I love Kobe, man. I love Kobe.
This is a pure Kobe Turner highlight. I found this.
It's so awesome. He's the conductor
I mean, absolute monster, dude.
He's just a monster. He's just undersized, but he's just so quick off the ball.
I mean, they say undersized, but if you're doing work, how can they actually say it? That's always been my point.
Yeah. I really like Terrence Ferguson, the tight end. I trust Sean McVay to know what he likes in offensive players. Because remember 2 years ago, everyone thought, who the fuck is Puka Nacua?
Yeah, literally.
How'd that work out?
I mean, he became an absolute household name overnight out of nowhere.
And I trust Sean McVay, man. They get it's just I love their draft, man. They didn't have a lot of picks, but I really like the Rams. And honestly, I was also torn with the Cardinals. I know we're gonna talk about them a little bit later, but I like what the Cardinals have done too, man. Yeah. This was a tough division to pick.
No, it's because I mean, even if you still can't completely, I don't think you can still completely throw the Seahawks away. I mean, they've done some interesting stuff, but like,
yeah,
I don't think you could throw that organization away. I mean,
I'm not as high on them.
I'm not high either, but I don't think you could throw them away.
I mean, that's fair.
I think, they could do something, and if they do it, it can hurt. But yeah, nah. And this is, very similar to the Commanders, not a lot of draft picks, but when you have, low number of draft picks, you got to take advantage. And I think you're right. I think they did, man.
You have to hit.
Yeah, man. I don't really have much more for the Rams.
No, this was tough, but I like the Rams as of right now. I like the Rams. All
right. So now we have the wild card reveal. Boom. So this is our NFC wild card predictors.
Yeah. As of right now, the way too early one. Way too early. I know we're not going to agree on this, Riley, but the Cowboys, Dak Prescott got injured last year. He was out for most of the year.
And they were a better team, we know.
No, they weren't. They were not they weren't a good team last year because their quarterback got hurt. And they're one of the best drafting teams in the league consistently, especially when it comes to offensive linemen. They got another great one in Tyler Booker.
Yeah.
He's going to be plug and play instantly. He's going to be a fucking stud.
I mean, one of the best.
And then, like I said, man, the Cardinals, I like what they've done, man. I mean, obviously you get one of my favorite defensive players in the entire draft in Walter Nolan, who is just a fucking monster of a defensive tackle.
Yeah.
You can move him around. That's what they did at Ole Miss. He can two-gap it. He can one-gap it. He can rush the passer. He's a great run defender. Just love that pick. And then the Cardinals, this is a great fit for me. They get Will Johnson, who's a great zone corner. The Cardinals run a bunch of zone coverage. They were one of the highest teams in the league last year in terms of just pure zone. So I think Will Johnson will be a great fit for them. And then they go out and they get Jordan Birch, the edge from Oregon. Like, come on, man. I mean, it's just another great bub that they got. And then the Commanders, I love Josh Connerly Jr.
Me too.
To go with Laramie Tunsil that they got in a trade. Like,
it was like 1 sack allowed in 311 pass reps last season.
Yeah.
5 for the entire offensive line all year. I mean, Josh Connerly Jr. Also, the man has a social media trend based off of the way one of his workouts that he uses to warm up his hips.
Mm-hmm.
It's exploding from the ground, getting up. It's insane. And, this is, like we said, they're a team, they didn't have a lot of draft picks, but I think they picked well.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I mean, I think the Commanders are in a good spot. And I think, it's a brawl in the NFC East. That's for sure.
I like Jalen Lane, the corner. I like Jalen Lane, the wide receiver out of Virginia Tech. I like
the punt returner, too.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the big thing about Jalen Lane. he's an elite, very, very good punt returner. And so, getting him late to fill a need that we've kind of just been plugging and not really addressing.
Yeah.
Which shows me that we're caring about special teams, which is something we've never had a team good enough to care about special teams. You know how crazy that is?
Yeah,
think about
insane.
we've never drafted. So I heard the phone call, they shared it to social media. I literally heard the phone call when they drafted Lane, and he addressed him as a punt returner. He didn't even address him as a wide receiver. He addressed him as a punt returner. And so we're literally drafting a player for special teams, which is insane because we've never been that good. We've never done that before. So that's just a fun sign.
That's my guy, Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech. And then, I like Trey Amos, the corner out of Mississippi State that you got in the second, just
good pick.
Again, your priority is we need to protect Jaden Daniels. He is the franchise. And you did that, getting Laramie Tunsil and Josh Connerly Jr., and then just building around Jaden. I really fucking like that. I like this draft, man. Like you said, not a lot of draft picks, but I think they have a potential to hit on a bunch of them.
And I love trading up into the draft to get Jacquerie Crockett. I get the last part. He's got 3 names. It's missing
Corey Krosky Merritt.
Jacquerie Crossett Merritt. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, Krosky Merritt. Yeah. Yeah.
We did
running back out of Arizona.
Yes. Yeah, the running back out of Arizona. Draven, we did do the Eagles. Yeah, she missed. We did
do the Eagles. But just to recap, we have
to go back. Well, we are going to go back. So
yeah, we have them winning the division. And again, Riley, just back to the Cowboys. I know you don't like them. I don't necessarily like them either. It's just they are typically a playoff team. They typically make the playoffs. It's just they start sucking once they get into the playoffs.
And I do agree. And I guess my point was, should we go back? My point for the Cardinals was, of course, or for the Cowboys was, of course, they made the playoffs when everyone was trash in their division. And I think that now that the Commanders are actually someone you got to play against, I think that slip in ability that they had traditionally isn't going to be there. I think
I'm going to address some teams that people probably think should be on there, like the Vikings and the Packers and the Bears. Well, y'all know how I feel about the Bears. I think the Bears are just smoke and mirrors. I don't think it's going to work. I don't think they've addressed their needs well enough. They continue to go for skill players. And it's not going to work if you can't protect Caleb Williams. Yeah. The Vikings, I just don't trust J.J. McCarthy. J.J. McCarthy is going to be a first-year starter this year. I didn't like him coming out of the draft last year. He's coming off of a major knee injury already. I don't trust J.J. McCarthy enough to just put them into the playoffs, although I do like their roster. I like their roster a lot. And the Packers, I know everyone's hyping up Matthew Golden. I just don't see it. I think you added, in a room full of wide receiver number 2s, you added another wide receiver number 2 in Matthew Golden. He wasn't even the best receiver on his own team at Texas. What are we doing? I don't get it. And Jordan Love is very hit or miss. He's very inconsistent at the quarterback position. So I don't know, man. I think the NFC East is a bloodbath. I think you could potentially have 3 teams come out of there. And then the Giants just suck.
The Giants too also just suck. That is a good point.
All right.
I think the Giants are just going to get kind of rolled over.
All right. Do we want to move on to the AFC?
I think it is time, man. We finished with the wild card, so now it's time for the first team in the AFC North. I think this is one that's not. Yeah.
This was tough for me. You know how much I love Joe Burrow. But the Bengals, every single draft pick they had was a project that they're going to have to develop. Obviously, Shamar Stewart is the big one. But then,
Oh, I'm blowing the surprise.
Yeah. But then you have Demetrius Knight Jr., the linebacker out of South Carolina. I think they took him too early. Barrett Carter, the linebacker out of Clemson, he's shown flashes. He just hasn't reached his potential. But do you trust the Bengals to get him to reach his potential? I don't. All they did was draft projects and dudes that they're going to have to really develop. I don't trust the Bengals to do that. Yeah, it's the Ravens. It's obviously the Ravens. They had a great draft. Another year, another great draft from the Ravens. They get Malachi Starks, the best safety in this draft by far. And then in the second round, they get one of the best edge rushers in Mike Green in the second round.
Yeah.
He fell because of character concerns, but it's the Ravens. I trust them with players like that.
Yeah.
And then you address your offensive line in the third round with Emory Jones Jr., the tackle that played opposite of Will Campbell. He's really, really good.
Yeah.
I love what the Ravens have done, man, and I hate what the Bengals have done. I know they signed T. Higgins and Jamar Chase to long-term deals, but they haven't addressed their defense at all.
Yeah.
And your defense was what killed you last year. And you're gonna have a bunch of projects on defense. I just don't see it. I don't trust the Bengals to do that. I don't trust the Bengals to develop those players to play to their full potential.
Yeah, especially not when the Ravens have really they were a good team last year. And this year, I really think they only got better. I don't think they did anything to get worse.
No.
I don't think they lost any pieces that are going to make a difference. And if not, they gained some pieces. I think another player that they got in the draft that's like LeJonte Wester from Colorado. I mean, he was
another good Colorado receiver.
An absolute speed, though, man. He's just a demon. He's fast. Mm-hmm. And so, they also, they get a pretty solid thing. They really don't lose a lot of people. You can't, man. I don't know what you can say, dude. They're looking pretty good right now. The Ravens.
They're just another well-run team. They know what they're doing.
Yeah,
and just they added Malachi Starks to go with already one of the best safeties in the league in Kyle Hamilton. That's going to be a nightmare for offenses to throw the ball against. Like, come on, man. I love what the Ravens have done. It's the Ravens.
Got some extra depth for their line, which is very good for them.
Yeah.
Very good depth too, man. Quick extra depth is also, that's amazing. And then Mike Green, an edge rusher. That's something that has always been a thing for the Ravens that hasn't quite been the same the past few years.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's, I think, Mike Green is a big step in getting back that attitude and that edge, all pun intended, that they're looking for.
Yep.
Damn, dude, I got away with that. all pun intended. And then I think also getting Dellinger out of LSU on their line.
Mm-hmm.
In the 7th round, that's sick. And then Carson Vincent, one of the only HBCU players taken in this draft, but one of the best HBCU players in the country.
Yeah.
He's going to be that's a solid project. This is how you do project players.
Yeah.
PSA to the NFL. This is how you do a project player. You get 2 very good tackles in Emory Jones and Carson Vincent. Carson Vincent plays in HBCUs, didn't necessarily play against the talent that Emory Jones Jr. has, being a tackle at LSU, but he's played his fair share. He started almost every single game in 4 years with very little injuries, which is an impressive feat. It doesn't matter what level of football you're playing at. And so now you have a guy that is, weathered storms in the SEC and another young rookie coming into a tackle situation that's already got solid position. You have one of the best left tackles right now and Stanley. And it's just that's a great room. That's a great developing room.
It's almost like you need solid veterans, and then you take chances on project players and see if you can develop them.
But you only take chances on projects when you have other stuff around them to make sure that if they bust, they don't have to succeed.
And also, Riley, this is a PSA to the Bengals specifically.
Yeah.
You're going to take a project player, make sure he's a fucking football player and can actually produce at the college level.
Or any level.
Yeah.
Or any level.
He had 8 sacks in high school. Like, my God. What are we doing?
Yeah, dude. Don't take a project. You don't take a project player when they have to produce for you. Like,
Yes.
you're putting them in the position where they have to produce. They have to be good. It's never going to work, man.
It's never gonna work. Oh, it's so frustrating. But anyway,
all right.
You want to move on, Riley?
Absolutely, brother. AFC East.
The AFC East, I think this is just kind of chalk at this point. It's the Bills.
Yep.
So last year was kind of the reset, and I said that I thought the Bills were going to miss the playoffs, and I was wrong about that. They still made the playoffs, but they had a lot of older players that they got rid of over the last few years, and last year was supposed to be kind of this reset. Well, now they've fully reset, and they still made the playoffs. They still won their division. So I don't see any reason for them not to miss the playoffs again, barring some, catastrophic injury to Josh Allen or something. Like,
yeah, that's like the person it'd have to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's still Josh Allen. You still have, Dalton Connect, like great tight end. James Cook, one of the best underrated running backs last year. You still have a good offensive line, and your defense. They had needs. They got Maxwell Harrison, the corner out of Kentucky, because they definitely needed corners. They get TJ Sanders, the first Sanders taken in the draft, by the way, the defensive tackle out of South Carolina, who I really, really love. That South Carolina defensive line last year was a problem.
Yeah.
And then they get Landon Jackson, the edge rusher out of Arkansas, Deonte Walker, the D tackle out of Kentucky. If he doesn't get hurt last year, he probably goes a lot higher. So they're loading up on their secondary and they're adding depth to their lines of scrimmage, which I really, really like.
Honestly,
it's still the Bills, man.
Yeah. I got to say, one pick that I love for them is Halls. Jackson Halls, that 5th round pick, tight end out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
If you didn't watch Georgia Tech last year, you missed some of the best football played in all of college football last year.
This is true.
Brett Keys, run the ball football.
Run the ball.
It's so entertaining to watch. And Jackson Halls was the piece that really made them successful in a lot of games because he would sneak out and find opportunities and make the few passes that they had. He'd be such a big target for him. And I think he's going to be able to transition that really well into this Bills offense that also thrives from having sneaky, finding zone kind of tight ends. I think Josh Allen thrives with that. And I think Jackson Halls is really going to provide that in a way that I think will be kind of out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm. He's just a mismatch. He's just a mismatch, and they used him that way at Georgia Tech. Tight ends are mismatches. Like I've said before, I'd much rather have an elite tight end than an elite wide receiver because tight ends, they just create better matchups for you as an offense. So I really like that pick, man. And Dorian Strong, the corner / safety out of Virginia Tech, they played him at corner. They also played him at safety early on in his career. He's a really good football player, He's a big corner.
Yeah.
He's long. He's lanky. That's what the NFL likes nowadays. They're taking a page out of the Legion of Boom's book. They like long, lanky corners. He definitely fits that. So I like that pick as well. I mean, it's the Bills, man. I think the Patriots will be improved. I don't really know what the Dolphins are doing. And then the Jets. I don't trust the Jets. So this is kind of a chalk pick at this point. Like
I think I can agree. As much as I don't want to, I do think it's kind of a chalk pick for them. And Really, all they've done this all season is kind of shore up some of their other positions. Of course, this is one thing we didn't talk about, bringing in Joey Bosa.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't even talk about that. That's kind of one of the biggest pieces in this whole thing is that now they're bringing in an absolute terror.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. Also,
hopefully he can stay healthy because he's had injury issues.
He has had injury issues, and if he can, I mean, truly, if he can stay healthy, I mean, they released Von Miller. They're going to get all that production back, if not a little bit more, if he can stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, yeah.
If he can stay, man, fat ifs. But that's one of the bigger pieces right there. I think we're all forgetting about.
And then, okay, so now where do we want to go next, Riley?
Next would be the AFC South.
This was tough for me because the Texans' huge weakness, like their one major flaw, is offensive line. And I don't think they addressed it as well as they should have because they got rid of Laramie Tunsil, who was by far their best offensive lineman. And Riley, I know you're really excited to have him.
The gas mask
himself. Yep.
I want a hit of that.
But then in their draft, they get wide receivers. Like they kind of went all in on just skill guys, which is something that I'm not a huge fan of, Yeah. So they get Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver, in the second round. They didn't have a first round pick because they traded back out of the first round. Then in the second round, they get Ursery, the tackle out of Minnesota. I like him. I think he'll help them, but I think their offensive line is bad enough that they needed to hit it harder. Because as we've always said, Riley, you cannot have a great offensive line with one great player. You need 3, 4, 5 really good players up front.
You need 5.
You need 5.
I mean, anything less, and you're leaving what we call an exploitable gap.
That was their only offensive lineman that they drafted in the second round. Like, really, this is more like I love CJ Stroud, but just can you protect him? That's the question.
Can you keep him standing? It doesn't matter how much you like how a quarterback throws the ball. If he can't throw the ball, that's just taken out. It's explicitly taken out of the game. If you can't keep him standing, he can't throw it.
I mean, you already have Tank Dell. You already have Nico Collins. I don't think you really needed more wide receivers. You should have really hit the offensive line. To me, this is more of an indictment of the rest of the division and how bad I think they're going to be.
Fair.
Because I don't love what the Texans have done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I just you need if you have a bad offensive line, you need to address the bubs. You need to get big, ugly bastards up front. I don't think they got enough of them. So,
yeah, I mean, really, the only person that they brought in outside of that draft pick was Cam Robinson.
Yeah,
and they lost
Tunsil,
Shaq Mason, and Tunsil.
Yeah,
so
and Kenyon Green. Remember they traded him to the Eagles.
And Kenyon Green.
Yep.
And so they're not even replenishing the trash offensive line they had last year.
No. So I'm still going to take the Texans, but that's more of an indictment of just how bad the AFC South is.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest threat to the Texans is a breakout rookie season from Travis Hunter.
Mm-hmm. I think I agree with that. I mean, yeah.
I mean, listen, if Travis Hunter ends up being one of the greatest wide receivers to ever touch grass, that could be a problem for him. But I think that's kind of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, bye, Texans. AFC West.
This is going to be controversial. And Piano Man, if you're still with us, I hope you are. We're talking about the Chargers right now because I like what the Chargers have done. I have them winning the division this year. I know Chiefs fans are going to come after me. That's fine. Travis Kelce is another year older. He didn't have the elite production we're accustomed to seeing from him last year. That's probably only going to get worse as he gets older. And The Chiefs, they're having to completely remake their offensive line after getting absolutely bullied and dominated in the Super Bowl. And the Chargers have a team that I think can bully the Chiefs because they go out, they get Amarion Hampton, which we said at the time, Riley, that is just a Jim Harbaugh running back. He's just downhill. I'm going to run in, like, I'm going to smash your face in type of running back. He's just, he's just a very downhill physical back. I love the wide receiver Trey Harris out of Ole Miss. I think there's a legit case. A lot of Giants fans are saying Jackson Dart made Trey Harris. I think you could make the case Trey Harris made Jackson Dart. Trey Harris is a stud.
Yeah.
Like, I love Trey Harris. I think that he's exactly what the Chargers needed, to go alongside Ladd McConkey. And then they get Jamari Caldwell. If you don't know who Jamari Caldwell is, he's a 6'2", 330-pound defensive tackle, like true nose guard out of Oregon. Yeah. And then they also get Kyle Kennard, the edge rusher out of South Carolina in the 4th round. Like, just, again, addressing the lines of scrimmage, being a very physical football team. Jim Harbaugh is telling you what kind of football team they want to be. And I love it, dude. I think they're going to be able to win the division this year. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, man. And I think they also got one of my favorite players that was in this, R.J. Mickens. Safety out of Clemson.
Fell that far.
I'm so surprised he fell this far. I think they got an absolute steal getting him as far back in round 6 as they did. Mm-hmm. And I think, that's a piece that's going to be able to come help deepen the secondary that, at times, if the Chargers had a problem, some could argue that it was that secondary looking a little weak at times. Teams definitely tested them. And I think they did a good job. Branson Taylor, really one of the very good offensive lineman, one of the better offensive linemen. I think the best offensive lineman from Pitt. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
I think that's a fair statement. The best offensive lineman from Pitt. And yes. There's a Pitt team that stayed pretty consistent in his time at Pitt. They did decent work making to an ACC championship with Kenny Pickett. But I think they did good work.
I really like what the Chargers have done, man. They're telling you what they want to be. And, because they have Rashawn Slater, they have Joe Alt, the 2 tackles, the 2 bookend great tackles. Yeah. They're going to run the ball down your throat. And then they also got Najee Harris from the Steelers. So they're going to have a legit 1-2 punch at running back, and they're just going to smash your face in.
Yeah.
Which is awesome.
It's going to be very, very fun to watch. And also, let's not forget that with Ladd McConkey and now with Trey Harris. Yeah. The play action game that Harbaugh is going to be able to draw up is going to be fun. That's going to be a unique system, as that man can and only him can. Well, him and his brother can.
Yeah. I love it, dude. All right.
As only that brother. All right. So our last little bit is going to be the AFC wild card.
Yeah.
And boom. Hold on.
Oh, there we go. Oh.
It's where Preston gets lots of hate.
It is.
This is where I throw him under the bus. This is it, man.
You can't not have a playoffs without the Chiefs. I think It's still Patrick Mahomes. It's still Andy Reid. Mike Tomlin, until proven otherwise, he's just gonna make the playoffs. Even at 9-8, they're gonna make the playoffs. I think.
Yeah, 9-8 usually doesn't.
Yeah, and then the Bengals, dude. This is just me showing how much I love Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow and the Bengals would have made the playoffs last year, he would have won MVP. Because he just had one of the greatest statistical seasons we've seen in a while. And the problem is, you wonder, can he duplicate that again this year? And will their defense be any semblance of better? Can they just be a little bit better? Because their defense lost them so many games last year. Riley, as you remember, The Bengals lost a game in which there were no turnovers and no punts the entire game for both teams, and they lost it to the Commanders. You remember that?
Absolutely.
And yeah, so those are the wild card teams that I have. I don't trust the Broncos to repeat and make the playoffs again just because I'm not a huge fan of Bo Nix. Like I said, the AFC South, I just don't trust them. The Jets and the Dolphins, I really don't trust them. I don't think the Patriots are going to be good enough to make the playoffs this year. But yeah, those are my wild card teams.
I mean, honestly,
way too early wild card teams.
On my list, if I'm taking anyone, I would probably swap the Bengals for the Patriots, and that's only because I trust Vrabel. I think Vrabel, if there's any coach that could take a team in 1 year and get them into the playoffs, it'd be that.
That's a
silly
good
man.
point. That's a great
silly
point.
man.
But again,
I don't disagree with the Bengals. I mean, they just look so good on paper. Until they start playing terrible, you got to assume that they're going to be good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's the reality. Like every season that they played, it's like until the season is playing out, you can't say anything about them because they can win any game.
They can.
They just got talent.
They have a bunch of talent. T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow. Can they protect him? We'll see. And can they get stops on defense? Those are the questions.
All right. So running down for the NFC North, we have the Lions. NFC East, we have the Eagles. NFC South, the Buccaneers. NFC West, the Rams. And for the wild card, we're calling the Cowboys, the Cardinals, and the Commanders. Thank God those are all spelled with C's. In the AFC, for the North, we have the Ravens. In the East, we have the Bills. In the South, we have the Texans. In the West, we have the Chargers. In the wild card, we have the Chiefs, the Steelers, and the Bengals, a.k.a. the Bungles.
Yes,
Let's go look at that tiger again.
It's the Bungle Tiger. He's going to drool on you, Riley.
He's going to drool us on us all. All right. Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Ooh, Offensive Rookie of the Year. Let me go get my hashtag copious notes. This is probably going to be an unpopular opinion.
All right.
I know a lot of people are just going to pencil in Travis Hunter, but I really think Amarion Hampton has a real shot here.
Yeah.
Just because the Chargers have a great offensive line and they're going to use him as a bell cow. And he's just, I mean, I just don't trust the Raiders. Like, I know a lot of people would say Ashton Genty before Hampton. I don't trust the Raiders' offensive line. I think they still have to build that. So I like the Chargers. I like Amarion Hampton.
I mean, I feel like for me personally, it was between Amarion Hampton and Ashton Genty in my mind. I feel like this is going to be a running back. I really don't expect Travis Hunter to have an offensive Rookie of the Year level season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It just doesn't feel like it's going to be it. But yeah, I like your Amarion Hampton. Shouldn't have taken away the oh, come on, click in.
Oh,
what we doing? There we go.
There we go. Okay.
I'm gonna have to go check the spelling, but I'm pretty sure that's right. I like that pick.
Yeah. I figured you'd like that pick.
No, it's a good pick, dude. I mean, that's the Chargers have a consistent offensive line. And I think he's going to be able to run big time. All right,
and
defensive rookie.
Defensive Rookie of the Year. This was tough. And for me, it was down to 3.
Do they all play at the same school?
No. No. They it was down to 3 of them. Obviously everyone's going to say Abdul Carter. You know, I really love Abdul Carter.
But he's got to contend with the Giants.
With the Giants, you know. Now he will have Sexy Dexy, you know, to take some of that load off of him. But I don't know, man. There's just some of Michael Williams.
Yeah.
There's Michael Williams, man. And I also was going to go Will Johnson just because of the scheme that he plays in. If he intercepts like 3 or 4 if he returns 3 or 4 interceptions for touchdowns, which is what he did so much at Michigan, he'll definitely be in consideration. And I think he'll have a chance to do that because of the zone scheme the Cardinals play. But I don't know, man. Mykel Williams, there's just so much growth for him to do. And he's already a stud. And he's going to be learning from Nick Bosa and practicing against Trent Williams every day.
Yeah.
Like, can you think of a better way to speed run your growth as a pass rusher?
Yeah, no, it's definitely I mean, one of my first thoughts when I thought about defensive rookie of the year, just for candidate and fit, Mike Green, dude.
Yeah,
With
no, I like
Ravens
that
defense.
Too. Yeah.
He's just going to be in such a good position to like come in and do exactly what he does best. And like just the pure plug and play into scheme. Like he's not a perfect talent either, but he does that pass rush really well. You know, he's got the move set to beat NFL level tackles, I think. And I think that's just what they're going to need him to do. Yep. They're going to let him pin his ears back and just go and go and go. And I think it's going to make with the rest of that defense. I mean, I feel like that was my first thought when I was thinking defensive rookie of the year. I was thinking this over. I think Mike Green was mine.
So how do you want to do this? You want to do just 2 of them? What are
you thinking? What do you think? What's your last one? I mean, if you had to put it on 1, what would your 1?
If I was going to put it on 1, I'd put it on Mykel Williams, but I really like your Mike Green.
Honestly, I'm down to tie that because I totally agree with Mykel Williams. My only worry with Mykel Williams is the anti-interior D-line or the anti-D-line bias, but I guess with Mike Green, you're getting it too.
Yeah.
But I feel like, you got to be like that.
I mean, dude, we show love to the Bubs here on the TTT, so fuck it. Because I think both of them have a real shot to win it. I really like your Mike Green take. I really like that.
All right. And as we finish this up, MVP. That's the last.
I mean, you could go Mahomes, you could go Burrow, you could go Lamar, but I'm gonna go underrated. A dude that I think can really, really has a chance to win it this year. I'm gonna go Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield, he was top 5 in passing, top 3 in completion percentage, top 5, just top 5 in every statistical category. And his receivers were hurt last year. Chris Godwin was hurt. They get Emeka Egbuka. Jalen McMillan comes back. Mike Evans comes back. They have Bucky Irving. I like Baker, man. I like Baker Mayfield. I didn't want to go chalk Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes. I don't think
honestly, I've got another one for this one as well that I think actually has a chance as well.
Okay.
Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, no, I like that.
I mean, a repeat season of that same production.
Are they going to give it to a running back? That's
2 seasons in a row. If he busts $2,000 again, like 2 seasons in a row going that, you gotta someone's gotta be like, give this man a fucking trophy.
I mean, that's true.
I get the anti-running back bias, but if there's anyone that can do it, it's got to be a second season of that kind of level of production.
I like it. And dude, Saquon, I'm down for that.
All right.
Again, we're not going chalk. Fuck that.
No, honestly, I don't think a lot of those guys. I mean, Lamar, I feel like will always have a chance just because he is that team.
Mahomes.
But Mahomes, man, I mean, if you're expecting them to have the season you're thinking, he's probably not going to win it. Not only getting them to the wild card.
No.
So
and the Bills, Josh Allen won it last year. Will he win it again this year? I don't know. So I think Baker, I mean, really the only other one is Burrow, but will Burrow have another season like that?
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, that's our list, man. That's
I like it, dude.
That's a pretty good looking list, I gotta say.
Yeah, no, I like it. I like it a lot.
It'll be. I mean, you gotta stick around and tune in to find out if our way too early predictions come in any kind of reality.
Mm-hmm.
So for that, you should definitely like, comment, subscribe, stick around, keep watching.
100%.
Absolutely. You gotta come back in, keep tuning in, keep seeing, see how it turns out at the end of next season. And we're gonna keep doing these as the offseason, progresses, we get closer to the season. We will do other variations of early predictions. So tune in for that as well.
Mm-hmm. We got a lot more content coming y'all's way. It's the off season, so we get to do whatever the fuck we want. We're going to do fun, exciting, controversial content. That's what we do here at the TTT. And, we hope that y'all keep on tuning in and, keep on coming back. We love having y'all here.
Keep on coming back and learning something with the Trash Talk Tailgate, because we're here to teach you. We're here to teach everyone.
Yeah.
But for this episode, I think we're going to wrap up and get out of here, y'all. Peace.